Welcome to my channel. Stop for a moment. Today I'm going to tell you something that will shock you. Take a close look at this 1980 D Washington quarter. You will be stunned when you hear its value. It looks ordinary. It looks like a coin you could find in an old coin jar, a cash drawer, or even in your pocket. But this is where the story gets interesting. The 1980 D Washington quarter was made at the Denver Mint, and more than 518 million examples were produced. So why would anyone care about a coin that was made in such a massive quantity? Because in coin collecting, the date is not always the whole story. The real story can be hidden in the condition, strike, surface quality, mint error, and grade. So, if you have a 1980 D Washington quarter, don't spend it until you know what you're looking at. The Washington quarter was introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington on the 200th anniversary of his birth. The design was created by sculptor John Flanagan, and the Washington quarter became one of the most recognizable coins in American history. Early Washington quarters from 1932 through 1964 were made of 90% silver. Beginning in 1965, circulating Washington quarters were made from copper and nickel-clad metal instead of silver. That means the 1980 D Washington quarter is not a silver quarter, it is a clad coin. Its outer layers contain 75% copper and 25% nickel, while the center contains a pure copper core. This coin weighs approximately 5.67 grams. Its diameter is approximately 24.3 millimeters. Now, look at the obverse. You will see George Washington facing left. Above him is the word Liberty. Below is the date 1980. To the left of Washington's neck is the motto, "In God We Trust." And the letter D is the Denver Mint mark. The 1980 D was produced at the Denver Mint. According to the National Coin Collectors Company's coin information, the mintage for the 1980 D was 518,327,487. That is more than 500 million coins. Some rare examples do exist among circulated 1980 D Washington quarters, and some are still worth thousands of dollars today. But not every coin is rare. The National Coin Collectors Company's current price guide lists rare examples at approximately $70,000 to $80,000 depending on grade, while examples in top mint condition can bring much higher prices. The Common Coin Grading Service currently shows approximately $20 to $22 for MS-65, approximately $25 to $60 for MS-66, and up to approximately $400 for MS-67 in its price guide information. These figures can change depending on market conditions, authentication, eye appeal, and the actual condition of the coin. A circulated 1980 D quarter may be worth only 25 cents, but an exceptionally preserved example can be worth hundreds to thousands of dollars. And we have real market evidence for this. A documented auction of a certified 1980 D Washington quarter graded MS-67 by the Rare Coin Grading Service sold for $110,000. Another MS-66 example sold for $118,000. And in November 2024, a 1980 D Washington quarter certified by the National Coin Collectors Company at MS-67 Plus sold for $130,000 at Stack's Bowers. These are documented sales, not random asking prices. An asking price and a sold price are not the same thing. Someone can list a 1980 D quarter online for $500,000. That does not mean the coin is worth that amount. The first type is the common circulated coin. These coins generally have limited collector value because the date is common and the mintage is very high. The second type is the mint state coin. This is where things become more interesting. Mint state coins are examined for their surfaces, strike, luster, marks, and overall preservation. You may see grades such as MS-60, MS-61, MS-62, MS-63, MS-64, MS-65, MS-66, and MS-67. MS-65 means the coin is in mint state with a very good level of preservation, although it can still have some marks or minor imperfections. MS-66 is better. MS-67 is extremely impressive. At these grades, minor contact marks, weak strikes, surface flaws, or poor luster can make the difference between one grade and another. That difference can be worth hundreds of dollars. Professional grading can therefore be extremely important. Professional Coin Grading Service and the National Coin Collectors Company provide third-party coin grading and authentication services. Experts examine coins, authenticate them, assign a grade, and preserve them in protective holders. For the 1980 D Washington quarter, this can be especially important at the highest grades. A certified MS-67 or MS-67 Plus can be far more desirable than an ordinary circulated 1980 D, but don't automatically send every 1980 D quarter for grading. If your coin is heavily circulated and is worth close to face value, the cost of grading it may be more than the coin itself is worth. Now let's talk about errors. A genuine mint error is different from ordinary damage. A coin can be struck off-center. Its planchet can be clipped. It can be struck more than once. It can have a major die break. It can be struck on the wrong planchet. Documented error examples of the 1980 D Washington quarter do exist. One particularly interesting documented example is a 1980 D quarter that was struck on a 5-cent planchet. An error like this is very different from an ordinary quarter because the wrong planchet was used during production. But not every strange-looking 1980 D quarter is valuable. A weak-looking mint mark does not automatically mean you have found a treasure. A filled-in D can be caused by a grease-filled die. A blurry date can be caused by die deterioration or mechanical doubling. A scratch can look like doubling. Damage that happens after the coin leaves the mint is not a genuine mint error. So, if you think your 1980 D has an error, do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not scratch around the mint mark. Do not use chemicals. Instead, carefully place the coin in a proper non-abrasive holder and have the unusual feature examined. Now let's talk about the most important question. What is the rarest and most valuable 1980 D Washington quarter? For the regular issue coin, the highest grade examples are where serious additional value appears. The highest professional coin grading service population information shows MS-67 examples, with very few examples certified at that level and even fewer examples appearing above it in population reports. This makes a truly exceptional MS-67 or even better example far more interesting than an ordinary circulated 1980 D. The Professional Coin Grading Service's current price guide has shown a much higher guide price in its pricing information for a coin representing the finest level, demonstrating how significantly grade and certification can change theoretical market value. But there is something else you need to understand. You may hear people say that a 1980 D Washington quarter could be worth $1 million, $2, 0,000, or even more. Be very careful. There are truly extraordinary coins in the Washington Quarter series that have sold for enormous prices. The National Coin Collectors Company's auction records, for example, show Washington Quarter sales reaching tens of thousands of dollars for major rarities. But those famous prices involve exceptionally rare dates, varieties, or proof coins. Not an ordinary 1980 D quarter, so yes, the term $1 million exists in the world of rare American coins. But there is no reliable evidence that an ordinary 1980 D Washington quarter has sold for $1 million. That distinction is extremely important. The Sheldon grading scale generally runs from 1 to 70. For circulated coins, you may hear grades such as VF, XF, and AU. VF means very fine. XF means extremely fine. AU means about uncirculated. Then you enter the mint state area, MS60 through MS70. An MS70 grade theoretically represents a perfect coin under the grading standards. For the 1980D Washington quarter, finding an exceptionally high-grade coin is much harder than simply finding the date. Examine Washington's cheek. Look around the hair. Check the open fields. Check liberty. Check in God we trust. Check the date. Then flip the coin over. Examine the eagle. Look at the lettering. Look at the wings. Look at the edge. Look for unusual doubling, missing design elements, an off-center strike, die breaks, or other features that appear to have happened during production. Remember, damage that occurred after the coin left the mint should not be mistaken for a genuine mint error. Now let's talk about where you can sell a valuable 1980D Washington quarter. If your coin is common and circulated, selling it separately may not bring you much benefit. But if you have a high-grade certified coin or a genuine major error coin, the situation changes. You can consider major coin auction companies. You can also contact established coin dealers. Online marketplaces can also be useful, but you will need excellent photos and an accurate description. Coin shows can also connect you with professional dealers and collectors. If you believe you have a major error coin or an unusually high-grade coin, getting an opinion from a professional coin expert before selling can be extremely beneficial. Now, how should you protect your 1980 D quarter? Do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not rub it with a cloth. Use a proper coin holder, capsule, or holder made from a safe archival quality material. Hold it by the edges. Keep your fingers away from the main surfaces. And store it in a dry and stable place. If you eventually send it to the Professional Coin Grading Service or the National Coin Collectors Company, the coin can receive professional authentication and grading, provided it meets their requirements and passes their review. Now, here is the final lesson of the 1980D Washington quarter. A coin does not become valuable just because it is old. It does not become valuable just because it has a D on it. And it does not become valuable because someone wrote a huge $1 million price next to its picture. Value comes from rarity, condition, authenticity, the nature of the error, demand, and documented market evidence. An ordinary 1980D quarter may be worth only 25 cents. A nice uncirculated example may be worth a few dollars. A high-grade certified example can reach tens or hundreds of dollars. And exceptionally high-grade examples have proven sales in the hundreds of dollars, including a documented $660 sale of an MS67 Plus example from the National Coin Collectors Company. A genuine major mint error can bring significantly more, depending on exactly what happened during production, the condition of the coin, whether it has been authenticated, and how strong collector demand is. But $1 million value for an ordinary 1980D is not supported by credible sales evidence. And perhaps that is what makes the search even more interesting. Because now you know what to look for. You are not searching for an imaginary price. You are searching for the small detail that separates an ordinary quarter from an extraordinary coin. So, the next time you see a 1980D Washington quarter, don't immediately toss it into your spare change. Flip it over, check the D, examine the surfaces, look at the date, inspect the strike, look for genuine errors, and if the coin looks unusually sharp, unusually clean, or unusually strange, do not clean it. Protect it. Have it examined. Because the real story of American coins is not always written in huge numbers. Sometimes it is hidden in a tiny detail of a coin that millions of people spent without ever looking at it a second time. And that is why the 1980 Washington quarter deserves a closer look. If you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to subscribe to the channel, because there are still millions of American coins sitting in drawers, jars, collections, and pockets, and some of their stories are far more interesting than their face value.